Hello and welcome to an all-new Marvelcast, Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to one above all and one below all. My name's Ashley Cobley, the Explosion Network's resident watcher. Joining me today, Boseman Marchant.
Can I be the Explosion Network's resident watcher's assistant, or like sub-watcher, or vice-watcher of executives?
How much do you watch?
I watch a lot of Marvel stuff, apparently. Everything you watch on these podcasts, I watch.
That's a fair point. What say you, the astonishing Dylan Blight?
I also watch everything that we watch for these podcasts, so I too am a watcher.
Sure, let's all be... Like the proper MCU, there's like multiple watchers. Like we saw with Stan Lee in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Well, this is the MCU. There's only one watcher now. It's Jeffrey Wright.
That's a good point. What happened? Or is there is there like low? I guess there's like lower watches underneath, maybe.
It's a pyramid scheme. Watching is a pyramid scheme that one watcher starts, and then maybe after this point, because time is not really sensical. At this point, Jeffrey Wright's like, man, it's a real tough job for one person. I'm going to find some other big-headed people and shave their heads and be like, yeah, you watch. No,
he watches those ones who's like suckers. They don't realize they're being watched right now.
Those watchers start posting pictures in front of nice cars and like in front of pools, and then that's just how the scheme begins, really.
All right. Today we're talking about the season finale of What If. What If The Watcher Broke His Oath, directed by Bryan Andrews, written by A.C. Bradley. There is currently no synopsis up on the web on Disney+. But, it's the culmination of the entire season. As we suspected, it was a big team-up episode. Kieran, what did you think of What If The Watcher Broke His Oath?
Was okay. I feel like a lot of this episode, once again, really marred by it only having its, I think 32 minutes was the whole runtime, but 12 minutes of that is probably credits. No,
it was like 30 minutes. Opening, cut 4 or 5 off, maybe.
So like 25. Credits, I don't know. Credits always seem long, but 25 minutes.
At least.
I think this could have done with the format of the show being different, if that makes sense. Like, if we started off with the premise at the start of the series as the Watcher bringing these people together, and then each of the episodes are explaining like their part of the stories or like the what ifs behind them, it would then kind of add a lot more kind of character interaction between the final kind of group, the Guardians of the Multiverse. So when Killmonger finally starts going, do you want? We could do anything with these. You could go back to your time, or you could save your loved one, or anything, or you can save your world. Thor. There's kind of a reason for that has been shown on screen, not just kind of you have to presume that at some point during that time together.
During that montage,
a lot more.
The planning montage.
Yeah, but it was a planning montage, but still. And also, the overall plan just turned into let Doctor Strange do most of the heavy lifting, and then everybody else kind of do a little bit of supporting stuff, because that did turn into the answer for a lot of the quote-unquote problems presented by Ultron throughout most of this episode, was Doctor Strange can handle it. He's going to put cool armor and shields around everybody. He's going to, turn into some kind of Japanese animated show with all the tentacles and grasp at Ultron. There's Doctor Strange does most of the work here. That's kind of part of it's like, why are half of these people here?
It's fair points. Dylan, I assume you hated all this?
Yep. No, I didn't. It was okay. I enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed some of the imagery. I enjoyed all of Doctor Strange powers stuff, because it was really cool to see just some really out there crazy shit he was doing. Other than that, the rest of it was just sort of like it was a team up, but a team up I didn't particularly care much about, because even though some of these characters I enjoyed their episodes more than others, for instance, but like even though we got Star-Lord T'Challa back again, I'm seeing him in a circumstance where he's just on screen fighting. Like, I'm not really getting to learn more about him or his character. And the same could be said for like Agent Carter, you learn a little bit, I guess, because you do actually get that clip of her learning that she has like this strong relationship with her Natasha in her universe or whatever. But once everyone's dragged into the fight, which is, you know, pretty quickly, from then on it's just, you know, my least favorite sort of Marvel things, which is boom, boom, pang, pow, boom, smash.
Do you guys, I found it really interesting. Like, as soon as they both were seen together on screen, I was really interested with T'Challa, Guardian T'Challa, and Killmonger's dynamic for this episode. Considering, you know, that one's just killed most of the people in like Wakanda, or taken over Wakanda and turned it into this massive thing. And then T'Challa's living a very different life. And in part of that, Eric killed T'Challa. And then there was nothing. Nothing at all. I was like, man, if there was some animosity or just some kind of discussion there, that would have been super interesting. But yeah, it just didn't come about at all.
No, yeah. Obviously, that's not what this was going for. It was going for the big Ultron stop. Let's make it the biggest spectacle possible. You know, it had its cool moments and that kind of stuff. But yeah, as like a full-fledged story with like characters you care about and that kind of stuff, I feel like it obviously relied on you caring about those characters from their stories that you saw previously. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the setup was fun. Where, you know, we obviously had that. We pretty much had the start of a Winter Soldier, except with Carter instead of Steve. So that,
and with somebody being replacing George St-Pierre, because obviously Disney didn't want to pay for the likeness of George St-Pierre for that character, for Bardock.
I guess I wasn't really paying that much. Why wouldn't they? He just appeared in.
That's what I thought. I sat there, I was like, why is he
maybe
got,
it's
like,
just like a really bad
everything?
Character design.
Like, what have they done? Why haven't they just made this like a more bolding guy? Make it just, because that's what I was looking for the cast list. I couldn't find it. I wanted. It was like, did they get him in to voice the character at least? And if they did, that makes even less sense as to why his character model just doesn't look like him.
He's not listed. Yeah.
I
no,
really
he's there. No. George St-Pierre.
Then why? This just makes no sense. Why did he have like decent hair and like a full like dark facial hair and stuff? It's just
alternate universe.
Alternate universe.
I guess so. I guess he just has a different face in
this universe. He is Ned's. But yeah, like other ones, obviously we had T'Challa Star-Lord like being pulled, and in the process of stopping Ego from destroying the universe. That was pretty. Like some of these questions that we had lingering at the end of certain episodes, like they kind of took place when the Watcher extracted.
Just rush straight through to the end of them.
Yeah, there's that, and Shuri and Pepper like storming Wakanda. You know. But
which
yeah,
kind of doesn't make much sense with them opening the door and him, because wouldn't the Watcher just place Eric back in the same place?
No, because he doesn't. But I guess no,
placed. He doesn't.
That was a clue.
Like that. Okay.
It's a clue. Fair. Should have noticed right at the start. But yeah, I thought, you know, obviously it's interesting. I think the most interesting thing is obviously the introduction of the Gamora of this. Was there meant to be another episode?
Where did she come from? I was sat there trying to rank, because I was like, damn, this is real cool. That Tony Stark armor looks fucking awesome. Which episode is this from? Is this supposed to be from the episode where Ant-Man killed all the Avengers? Because we didn't really get anything dating back from that? Or
well, that's where Widow ends up at the end.
No, because Ant-Man kills Steve Rogers, doesn't he?
No. Steve Rogers was still in the ice.
Oh, right. That makes sense. Okay.
And obviously we see Captain Marvel fly around, and all the Lokis are because Loki took over the
yes,
world.
Sorry, I now understand. Yep,
so, yeah.
You see?
I feel like there was good tie-ins to everything, even if the characters obviously weren't there. Obviously we had the zombie worlds just dumped on Ultron, including zombie Scarlet Witch. The only solution was blowing everything up to get rid of her. That was solid distraction. I don't know why Party Thor was there. Of all of them, he was the one that stood out the most. Like, you couldn't find a better Thor.
You're now pulling out my biggest sort of annoyance with this episode.
And also, didn't Ultron, attack his universe? Oh no, he must have been attacking his universe when he got pulled.
I have no idea. Here's what I can tell you. This show's apparently canon. Or whatever. And the Watcher's going through looking for your greatest heroes to help put a stop to Vision. And we know for sure that our universe, core universe of Marvel characters, they sure didn't have a random Vision show up and that hasn't happened. So why didn't he just go pull some of them? I'm not saying I suddenly want all these other characters replaced by them, but when it's the setup is I need the best heroes I can find from the multiverse to fight Vision.
Dylan, look, listen, he's the Watcher, he's not the Rememberer. He only remembers the last 8 universes he checked out.
It's literally the equivalent of getting Surfboard Pikachu instead of fucking Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. What are you doing?
But then it's also I think some of this episode is hoping you forget parts of the MCU you've already watched, because when Vision, Ultron, whatever we want to call it, got stabbed in the head by that arrow, I'm like, isn't this just a very similar situation to Thanos getting his neck cut into, and then he just snapped the time crystal and the time stone, and he just rewound it? Why isn't that just happening right now? That seems
because he doesn't have the power to snap his fingers anymore, because what's-his-face is in him. He doesn't have control over his body anymore.
That's a stretch.
I don't think so. It's overconfidence. That's what it is.
Possibly, but that's...
Sure. I enjoyed the team-up between Captain Carter and Black Widow, Obviously the Black Widow that we saw last episode, last woman on Earth. Going around on a motorbike, up buildings like she's from Fast and Furious or something. Flying all over the place.
Dom has never drove up the side of a building, only through buildings.
Yeah. That's what the next movie should have. Yeah.
Look out, Daniel Craig on the side of a building.
Yeah. How do you feel? Obviously, the major setup for the episode was Gamora, who we haven't seen. So let's discuss that. Do you think there was meant to be another episode, or do you think they just introduced this Gamora to have that crusher device that we see?
I have no idea if there was supposed to be another one, but I can tell you there should have been another one, because it's really weird that all but one character we've been previously introduced to, and the fact that there's 9 episodes?
Yeah.
Not 10? Come on now.
Yeah.
What went wrong there? There has to be a story there. Some investigative journalism is needed.
There's been some character design put into that story, because fucking Tony Stark's in this cool, kitted out suit that's just much bulkier than the traditional Iron Man suit. It's just clearly something's been done here.
Yeah, they're melting down the Iron Gauntlet. So yeah. Obviously, it turns out, the Infinity Stone Crusher doesn't work because it's not from this universe. But yeah. Then obviously, how do we feel about the final solution? Killmonger and Ultron trapped in a moment in time for the rest of eternity, under the watchful gaze of Stephen Strange.
I guess it seems like a very convenient solution. Couldn't the Watcher have done that sooner?
I don't know.
could he have?
It's like
could.
But Stephen put them in the moment, so it wasn't the actual Watcher, was it?
No, the Watcher was because he saw it was cut to him in his hand and the power welling up in his hand.
But he was cutting him off or whatever. He was doing something.
Doing something.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, to be honest. Although it just made me think of Superman.
Well, there's a lot that made me think. Even the putting Wanda in a universe that had lost a Wanda is kind of... I've
Natasha.
seen... that's... Natasha, sorry. Not Wanda. Natasha in a different universe had lost her. That's like straight out of Injustice when they did that with Green Arrow and the Canary, because they did the same thing there. But which spoilers for Injustice. I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah, it's there was a lot of throwbacks or stuff taken from elsewhere, I guess.
But yeah. So how do we feel about the season as a whole? Do you think it was worth... Has these 9 episodes been a worthwhile endeavor? And do you want more?
I think it could have been structured better, and maybe with the option, I don't know, maybe be less ambitious with how many stories you want to tell. Like, I think if this season had just had, like, more 2-parter stories, so there was just more long-form storytelling, I think it would have been much better than what we did get.
It was lots of ebbs and flows this whole season. I feel I enjoyed some quite a lot. I enjoyed all those okay, and then there was obviously some episodes that I was very like meh on. Overall, overall as a show, 9 episodes. I'm left like, I know this maybe sounds bad, but I'm left just kind of like, yeah, I don't really need more. Doesn't mean I hated it, but I kind of got my fill. They didn't do enough in this season to make me really want more. At this stage, I'm kind of cool with just leaving these characters as is, especially if each season is just going to be another. Like, they sort of just rushed. Like, you go straight to someone grabbing and destroying multi-universes, and having the Watcher have to fight him, and then having the Watcher having to grab people from other universes to drag them into battling him. Like, that's not season 1 shit if you want to do a multi-season show. Like, I already feel like we've kind of reached the end of the playing field here, and I'm like, all right, that's my fill. I'm good.
No, I understand that. I definitely think they should do a season 2. I think the major thing, they should just shake up the creative team. Obviously, it would be really cool if it's like every episode is like written by a comic book writer, or like somebody, like maybe somebody from the MCU, like some of the writer directors who've worked on some of the other MCU stuff, like doing some random story, and like don't try and connect them all. We don't need. You've done the storyline where they've all team up. We really don't need that for another season, Just make it a bunch of one-shots, I think, of course, I suspect if they're going to do a season 2, they would follow on the story of Captain Carter. Obviously, they leave that with, like, a weird note, like, at the end. It's supposed to say that Captain America... Steve is in the suit. Steve is in the suit alive somehow, I guess. But in my mind... it would be awesome if Steve is the Winter Soldier of that universe. I guess that's what he is, right? Technically.
That would make sense. Except to be the Winter
Robot
Man. Winter Robot.
Yeah, the Winter Robot's pretty good, actually. I don't mind that. I can rock with Winter Robot.
It would be the Winter Smasher, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this has any impact at all on the MCU at all? No. Considering now, if this is canon for the MCU in theory, there is this super strong Stephen Strange, like kind of trapped in this somewhere in this pocket dimension thing. That's just.
I tell you what, if they, I could see them maybe one day,
like an Easter egg,
possibly an Easter egg, or a throwaway thing or whatever,
or like random shots of the Watcher, like looking in like random, like a reflection or something.
I mean, if they had the Watcher show up in the background of Spider-Man later this year,
like a key moment or something.
Yeah, just see the Watcher in the background. Like, maybe not super obvious, but you could, like...
do it super low-key, like super low-key.
I mean, like...
you won't notice it until it's mentioned to you.
Yeah.
I thought Ashley was going to go with a Loki joke then, because Loki sounds like Loki, and I was...
No.
You know what? I'm proud of you for not.
I want it to be that thing that if you notice, you're like, holy shit, I'm so smart. But if you don't notice, then you read on the internet after and you're like, oh my god, how did I miss that?
I need to go watch that movie again so I can see it.
Yeah.
It'd also be really cool if somebody at Disney or somebody at Marvel had forethought and planning, and there were random watches like throughout the entire MCU That'd be pretty fucking cool.
I mean, you could have... that would be cool going forward to have Watchers like hidden in the background, like it's where's fucking Watcher over here.
Where's Watcher? They should release
a book, an actual book.
I mean, if they want to like do the multiverse stuff going forward, then potentially the Watcher could become involved, like in live action.
Well, I feel like if any one character from this series can actually come over and be still voiced or played by what the fuck's it, Jeffrey Wright, then yeah, I guess the Watcher.
Do you guys think that? Do you think was the Watcher really pissed off at the end of Loki when all the multiverses got split back out because he was like, man, the easiest job in the world. I was only watching one thing. Now
he's like, I changed channel for 1 second.
Now he's got all these options. That's what it is.
That's actually a very interesting point where if the events of Loki don't happen, what the fuck is the Watcher doing? He's literally just watching one universe. Like, is that
he
how
already
it
knew this was going to happen, and it was already past that point. So.
Mind blown. All those Watchers talking to Stan Lee are all the same Watcher. They're just from different points in time, and they're all getting bored at something, so they'll congregate to talk.
Well, they're all just talking because they were at that point. There's literally just one timeline, so they're bored as shit. Makes sense.
Yeah, possibly.
I'd be bored if there was only one channel on TV. I didn't even watch TV.
Yeah, we were 12. We're all 12 months, right? We're all here. We all lived when Netflix wasn't, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Let us know what you thought of this episode of What If, this season of What If. What if something is going to happen next? By going to explosion.com/Twitter. Jump to a Discord at explosion.com/Discord. What if you want to help us out? You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about all new Marvel cast. And if you like this episode and thought it was worth $1, what if you just gave us a donation over at explosion.com/support? That would be nice. So I bet you're asking, what is the Explosion Network going to do next on all new Marvel cast? Well, we are going to be starting our Spider-Man series of podcasts starting November 12th. And of course, you should come here to all new Marvel cast to check out our after shows for Hawkeye, which premieres November 24th. So make sure you watch all that and join us next time for another all new Marvel cast.